updates, or rather sporting codes within football, rugby, and so forth. Well, welcome to Africa at Play, rather, Yamkela.
Good afternoon to you, Prudence, and greetings to the listeners of Africa at Play.
Sure. And just to get into this conversation, what actually brought you into excitement within the world of sports this week? Most especially now that this morning we actually had a heartbreak with the All Blacks.
Well, a lot has been happening, Prudence, this week. It started with the Proteas being able to see the win towards the end of the week, and we had raised up our hopes that all our national teams will be doing well because it's been a busy weekend. But we did see Bafana Bafana yesterday playing their World Cup qualifier against Lesotho, which I think all the football fanatics and supporters of our national team were actually proud and happy yesterday because they were able to retain a 5-point lead at the top of the table standings, winning with the 3-0 against Lesotho. And it was actually a great performance looking at how they were able to start the ball from the back, building those passes, going through the center, distributing wide and getting those crosses and playing those short balls, actually taking a shot into the net. So we were actually satisfied with what we saw, even though it was not maybe the usual squad that we normally see, but we did see Coach Hugo Bruce even taking from the players that were participating in CHAN, trying to rebuild and open up his pool, building up to the AFCON early December towards next year.
Yeah, and just to unpack more on that, do you really think that Bafana Bafana is actually, or rather will qualify, most especially coming on to next week's game?
Well, I am sure we will qualify because looking at the confidence that the boys have, and actually the record speaks volumes because we've been able to be unbeaten for almost over 10 games now, and we've gained the momentum, we've gained the confidence. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy game next week, but based on what we have and what we've seen, obviously there could be some chops and changes, but I want to be sure that we will qualify, especially looking at the gap at the top of the table. So I'm positive that Bafana will qualify.
Yeah, and now let's move on to rugby. I mean, like this morning, we've seen that the Springboks rather have been defeated by the All Blacks. Just unpack, that whole scenario on what happened this morning.
Well, for me, I think the Boks were well prepared for the game, but obviously New Zealand is a very tricky side, especially when you get to play a game that's in their comfort zone, because in the opening minutes of the game, we saw the Springboks opening with the high tempo, which is what actually New Zealand wanted to do because it's not easy to control them when the tempo of the game is high. Obviously, they are creative. Obviously, they can see the spaces. So they were quick to gain a lead, a 7-point lead, which came bad and had an effect to the focus of the game where the Springboks are concerned because now they were tempered with in terms of focus and also in terms of creative play. They were too hungry to try and respond and get back into the game. We did try to fight back during the first half, but I think the substitutes that we made were actually critical to try and change the game because now we went more back into the Springboks culture, which is kick and chase. So we saw Sasha Ngomezulu coming in for Uvilileru, which I felt for me, the game was too physical and too fast for Uvilileru. So I had expected Sasha Ngomezulu to start the game. I think Williams was doing good as a number 9, but also we needed someone who was a bit buffed up and who was able to make the physical contact instead of relying more into the spaces and the pace because he's that such a type of a player. But with Reina being introduced, he was able to make those contacts. And then we saw the power game of the Springboks that we know, trying to build them all, working on those throw-ins, the Lockers being able to win those balls for us. But unfortunately, by the time we tried to close the gap, it was 17-24, 70th minute when we put the try. So it was not easy for us to be able to actually win the game because time was not on our side, and the gap in between the points was a bit large for us to close because we needed to ensure that we put a try and we convert to win the game.
Yeah. And you've just mentioned that the spring